This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Sinlong, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
From NFL quarterback to Hollywood to the mayor's office, and now behind the mic at KXEX, this is the Alan Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody grabbing out there. Nobody. That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable. Free at last! Free at last! Thank Almighty!
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX.
And welcome to Alan Autry No Retreat. It's Thunderous Thursday. Now, some of you folks have asked online and everywhere, especially in the gym. I hang out at the gym quite a bit, about an hour and 15, 20 minutes a day. And asked me why I call it No Retreat. And I was thinking about it, obviously it was retreat from, your core values, faith, family, country. But then I realized that I am so far out. I have said so much. I am so politically, I guess, incorrect, which I don't think that I really am. I just talk the same as I always have. The times have changed, so suddenly I can't say I love America without being a racist. I can't say that, it's still, America's still a place for a person of any color to have a chance to live the American dream. That's racist. If I believe that math is not racist, but an essential component for somebody to learn to be successful in life of any color, that's racist. So I guess I look around and I think no retreat means no retreat because I got no place to go. They're everywhere. I can't. I feel like kind of, Davy Crockett at the Alamo. Where was he going to retreat to? Might as well just keep swinging old Betsy there until they take you down. So that's kind of where I'm at now, and some of you, and I appreciate you so much because you tell me you like what I've done as an actor, and that means the world to me because I don't consider myself a great actor. I can do a couple of characters pretty good, but I'm the actor in the family is my son Austin. He can really act. He can just, as they say in the business, he has a lot of range. I'm okay if I stay in my lane and do characters that I feel comfortable with. I'm okay. The only reason I say that is a lot of you all have said, Alan, we miss you. We saw you on Tulsa King. Boy, great to have you back. Thank you so much. And don't know if I'm going to get picked up. The actor strike's over, so either I'll hear from the company or won't. 911 Lone Star, I kind of was a part for an old Texas Ranger, and they seemed to like what I did in the past. They asked for an audition tape, did the audition tape, be able to get that part. Still astounds me because they will do a scrub on you in Hollywood now. They'll look at every post you made. They just Google your name, and there's stuff that comes up. And I think you folks that listen to me, you know me, agree. I'm not out in Alex Jones territory, but because I don't condemn everything Alex Jones says, then I must agree with everything Alex Jones. No, I agree with some stuff that Rob Reiner on certain things, but I don't agree with Rob Reiner's totally philosophy so far left. I mean, he's outdone. Even he's saying this woke movement's too much for him. He's kind of embarked on the Bill Maher thing. They can say that, hey, I'm still a Democrat, but I don't agree with this, and they don't cancel them, although they're trying to get Maher. And you say, you might want to watch what you say, this and that. And at this stage of the game, folks, I just can't do that. And I'm not trying to be a martyr. I'm not trying to say, hey, look at me, how I'm just standing up to the political machine, and even if it costs me and this and that, so hey, dig me. that's not, I promise you, that's not why I'm making the stand I am and saying what I'm saying now. I feel it's just a deep-seated calling to be honest, not always to be right. Nobody is right all the time. I've been wrong more times than I can recount. It would take, a year's show talk about all the times that I've been wrong. But when I feel very strongly about something, especially in the political world, which for some reason I've had an interest in it ever since I was a kid. I guess it was the Cuban Missile Crisis when I was in 6th grade. We got introduced to politics and what it could do to us. And we were going around as little 11-year-olds saying, man, somebody could push a button over there in Russia or in the United States and the whole world could blow up. Everybody's building bomb shelters left and right, scared the living dickens out of us. So I guess maybe if we're rooted, you go back, maybe that's where the interest in what's happening in other countries, the geopolitical world, and the stuff at home. Why? Because of the Vietnam War. I grew up teen years watching these body bags come back from Vietnam, lost 2 friends to war in Vietnam. That tends, I guess, to make you more interested in it. And some experiences come and go in your mind. They may leave a little residual effect, in your life. And some things come into your life that stick there. And you just can't help it. It's there. And if you feel the calling to speak out on it, especially as you get older, when you're saying, Dadgum, I've seen this country do this before, and I saw all the people that were hurt and killed and the misery that these policies caused. And I got to tell whoever will listen, we can't go there again. The old saying, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And sometimes it rhymes that you cannot tell the difference between the historical event and the event that's happening now. It does seem like history repeating itself. That's why my position on the Ukraine, it's Vietnam all over again. And you have kids that don't even remember 9/11. People a lot younger than me are astounded at that. You see young people that have completely, they have no idea that or believe that people actually hate us for being America. And then they've been educated in these institutions, and that term institution is taking on a whole new meaning for me. It used to mean, in the institution of higher learning. Well, it's more like an insane institution, a mental institution, for the criminally insane. Why do I say criminally insane? Well, if you're a professor up there saying that Hamas is justified for beheading kids, you are freaking crazy. I'll look right in the camera and say it. Well, there goes my chance at, of being a semi-regular on Tulsa King. There goes my chance of doing this and that. I understand that. But, dadgummit, if I'm going to sit in front of this microphone and tell you or share with you what I feel, and I made a promise to you, I'm not the brightest chrome on the bumper, but you don't have to be the smartest or the sharpest tool in the shed to make a promise and keep your promise. That's why I'm very careful about promises I make. I'll always usually preface, I'll do my best to do this. I'll try to do this. But when you say, a lot of people say, I want to do this, when they don't really have the power to even do it. When I ran for mayor, they wanted me to promise to do this, promise to do that. Well, I couldn't promise them that because I had to get 4, in some cases 5 votes on a council to make that happen. I don't know if I could get that. But I could promise you I'm going to bring it up, and I promise you I'm going to give you every ounce of energy I can to make that happen. But one thing I did promise y'all that I can keep is to be honest with you, to be who I am, to tell what I feel I discern as the truth, regardless of what I think it's going to cost me, career-wise. And believe me, I love acting. You know why? Because it's fun. Have you ever looked around? It's harder to find fun nowadays than it was pre-COVID. Pre-COVID, there was more fun to be had per square inch. Now you go any place, people want to fight each other. People yell at each other. People are depressed. They just, the prescriptions for antidepressants have skyrocketed. They were high before COVID. It went up during COVID. Then when COVID was over, they skyrocketed even further. Suicides up left and right. People are gloomy and down. And I love Well, I'm on a movie set. I don't think about those things. I think about that role. I can escape into that role next to Stallone, doing my stuff. It's fun. But part of my sacrifice is putting that on the table, saying, I understand the world. Now I got a choice. Either make my position on Hamas known, make my position locally here about public safety or what have you, calling out people, not just mindlessly criticizing, because I've sat in their seat. I've been a mayor. I've been the object of a lot of criticism. And I don't mind good, righteous criticism. The other stuff, if they're out to get you, you got to learn to swat it away. And you're seeing too many politicians making it personal when they should swat that away. The personal stuff means nothing. Is what is confronting you have ramifications for the greater good, or are you just ticked off at somebody because they insulted you on Twitter, which is now X? We're hearing so much of that. It's just, I'm kind of shotgunning this opening. I hope you're following my point here, but I wanted to address the comments because, especially those who want to see me back on the screen, because you supported me during Heat of the Night, you supported me during Grace Under Fire, you supported me, by sending me congratulatory notes, emails, phone calls, and I appreciate it so much. And we'll just see. Maybe, miracles do happen. That's what Al Michaels says, and that's why I have him on the intro. Do you believe in miracles? Yes. Hopefully, maybe. Because I promise you this, I'm not going to go and say something to endear myself to a political party. That's why I'm an independent. You'll hear me say things going, well, he's absolutely conservative. He's just a Fox News mouthpiece. Then I may say something else. Oh, man, he must have got a call from Chuck Schumer today. And that's not the case. I'm an American before I am a member of a political party. That's why I got out. I didn't leave the Republican Party and join the Democratic Party. There's not even such a party as an independent. Now, there's the American Independent Party, and that was started by George Wallace, and people can be confused. They come in and say, I'd like to re-register independent. You got to be clear. Sometimes there, you can register as a conservative, decline to state, whatever, and just an independent. Make sure they don't line you up as the American Independent Party unless that's where you want to go. I became an independent because I don't want my vote to ever be taken for granted. And that's what they do. They line people up like sheep, and you're expected to toe the line no matter what the issue, and that's just not my nature. I was taught to do your best to find out the right thing to do, and then do it. Simple as that. Figure out what's right and do it. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. And I tell you, I got so many subjects. I feel like that old mosquito at a nudist colony. Where do I begin? Good stuff, interesting stuff. And by the time we come back, I'll probably have it figured out. This is Alan Autry, No Retreat. We'll be right back. Oh, boy. You ready to go? All righty. Sounds good. We're going to start out with, I'll cue you, do the rumble.
This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Sinlong, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
And welcome back to Alan Autry, No Retreat, or Carlos Brown, No Retreat. I want to give a quick shout out to a couple of folks. First of all of you that watch online, listen, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. And I want to ask you to do something. If you like what we're doing, you think it's worthwhile, tell some friends. Tell 5 friends to tune in. Ask them to ask 5 more, because the last few shows, we've had a big jump in our listenership and viewership, and I appreciate it so much. But if what I'm doing here you think is worthy of it, make that phone call. Let people know that we're on the air when we're on the air, and ask them to spread the word. It'd mean a lot. But I'd like to give a big shout out to Lorna Loeris. She's found that she listens to the show. I got to meet her wonderful husband here. Thank you, Lorna, for tuning in, and all of the regulars. And I'll get to you. And we're going to set it up soon. I know you keep hearing this. It's like Chicken Little here, but I am going to start interacting. Have a certain segment of the show dedicated to responding to your emails and questions. We'll have the laptop up here and all that. Maybe we even have it on a screen if we can get Guillermo to do so. But that's coming. But I want to thank all of you, and also my Uncle Tony Brown. I tell you, he listens and watches from time to time. And my Uncle Tony, we're not that far away in ages. He's more like a brother to me than an uncle. But I mentioned the other day that I grew up 6 years old. Well, actually, I was in Louisiana for the first 11 months, but I don't remember much about that. My mother brought me out to Tulare, and I grew up in a little house where you had like 10, 11 folks living in the one house with one bathroom, and I had a ball. I loved it. And it was my aunts and uncles that made that happen, and my Uncle Tony was one of them. Went off to serve our country in the Navy, met a beautiful lady named Tessie. They got married, came back, and I got all sorts of beautiful cousins as a result of that. So big shout out. I love y'all. I can't wait to get together and maybe go down to the old China Garden there in Selma, break some bread. Okay, I was watching, and you may have seen this as well. There was a Senate committee meeting. Well, actually, I should say there was a fight, and then a Senate committee meeting broke out, thanks to Bernie Sanders, of all people. But I think the lead into this next subject is apropos. I think we got on Mike Buffer. Do we have Mike Buffer? Hold on. We got Mike?
Let's get ready to rumble!
Well, that could have been the theme song in the Senate committee, where Senator Mark Wayne Mullen from Oklahoma took exception to a tweet by Mr. Sean O'Brien, who had been invited by the committee to come in and testify before the committee. Sean O'Brien happens to be the head of the Teamsters Association. Now, Mullen, Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, he's from Oklahoma, and you have the middle name, Joe Bob, Billy Bob. In fact, I have cousin Sammy Joe Cravens. I mean, that's big in Oklahoma. I don't know if he was born there, raised there, or whatever, but he made it clear in his interaction with Mr. O'Brien that he was from Oklahoma, and you don't send out tweets to somebody from Oklahoma like O'Brien did. Brian, we don't have the graphic, but I'll just paraphrase a little bit what he said in the tweet. Basically, hey, you're a blowhard, you talk tough, but you're a wuss, and anytime, anywhere, any place, you let me know. Schoolyard stuff that real tough guys don't do or say. If you're tough, you don't have to tell people you're tough. Other people call you tough. Back in the day, John Wayne's characters didn't have to say, well, I'm tough. His restraint in a lot of roles showed his toughness. The tough ones were the ones that kind of avoided the fight, and it was like you got this impression, look, I'm glad that person's patient, because if they ever lost that patience, they would wipe the floor with me and about 10 other people in here. But they didn't. There was a common trait. They didn't go around saying, hey, look at me, I'm tough. Usually, those were bullies. And when they were backed in the corner, they ran like a scalded dog. That's what I found out to be in my life the majority of tough talkers. Now, some people can talk tough, and back it up. But generally speaking, you were tough. You didn't have to say it. Okay? You just lived it out. In fact, you look to avoid fights. To me, that's a tough person. If you know you can take care of yourself, but you say, hey, there's no use fighting here. Nobody wins. That's the end of the conversation. Let's find another way to resolve this. That's a tough dude. Thing is, like, I'll fight you if I have to defend myself, but I don't want to do that. Me saying I don't want to fight doesn't mean I think I'm a coward. And by the way, anybody watching this, I don't care what they think about me because I'm secure in myself that I know who I am and I know I'm not a coward. I just don't think fighting resolves anything. That is being a tough guy in my book. But what happened? Let's play this. Now, mind you, Mark Wayne Mullen, senator in Oklahoma. And by the way, I have deep Oklahoma roots. My mother's Oklahoma, all my aunts and uncles Oklahoma, born in Oklahoma. I was born in Shreveport, Louisiana, from a father who was born in Oklahoma, I believe, I think. A lot of Okie blood in my system, culture, otherwise, raised out in the Central Valley where there's more Okies per square inch this side of Stillwater. All right? So I kind of know a little bit about Oklahoma culture. And Senator Mark Wayne Mullen wanted to educate not only this Sean O'Brien about this tweet to him, but also us viewers. So let's play a little bit of that interaction, Jeremy.
Why'd you elbow me in the back?
No, that's not that one. I'm sorry. This one here. I messed Jeremy up. I told him we were going to start with the other one, but we didn't. We'll get to that one later, the McCarthy elbow scandal. Go ahead.
Quit the tough guy act in these Senate hearings. You know where to find me. Any place, anytime, cowboy.
That's Mullen reading a tweet.
Sir, this is a time, this is a place. If you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big
No,
guy.
no, stop it.
Oh,
Is that your solution every
Hold it. No, sit down.
stop that for just a second. I'm going to play more Bernie Sanders. Just hold it. Now, I thought this was a Senate subcommittee, but apparently this is Granite Ridge Middle School here in Fresno. Did you listen to that? Can we replay that real quick? Listen to this. Is this I know you are, but what am I? This is so childish in a Senate committee with two wars raging, border out of control, crime out of control. This is what they decide they're going to use their time on. Go ahead. Let's
The tough guy act in these Senate hearings. You know where to find me. Any place, anytime, cowboy.
Tough dude.
Sir, this is a time, this is a place.
Oh, yeah, you're
You
tough.
want to run your mouth? We
Yeah.
can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Yeah,
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
that's
You
fine.
want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big
No,
guy.
no, stop it.
Is that your solution every poll?
Keep it
No,
running.
no, sit down.
It's Bernie
Sit down.
Sanders trying to
You
come
know,
on.
you're a United States Senator. Sit down.
Active.
Oh, okay.
Sit down, please.
All right.
Can I respond? Mr.
Hold
Chairman?
it. Hold it.
That's Bernie
We
Sanders.
can't.
This
No,
is
I have the
what he
mic.
said.
I'm sorry.
This is
Hold
what
it.
he said.
You'll have your time.
Okay.
Can I respond?
Oh, no, you can't. This is a hearing. And God knows the American people have enough of contempt for Congress. Let's not
I don't
make
like
it worse.
thugs and
You-
bullies.
You have,
And that's
you
what-
have-
I don't like you because you
Hold
just
it.
described yourself.
Hold it.
Oh, God.
You have time.
All right.
Make your statement.
Then let's do this, because I did challenge you, and I accepted your challenge,
Oh,
and you were quiet.
No, I didn't go quiet.
Hold on.
You challenged me to a cage match,
No,
acting like a
sir.
12-year-old schoolyard
Hold
bully.
it. Excuse me.
hold on.
Hold it. No, excuse me. I have the
I
mic.
will say exactly.
Senator
what you
Mullen,
said.
I have the mic. You have questions on any economic issues, anything that say, go for it. We're not here to talk about physical abuse.
You brought.
We're not
him
talking
in.
about, of course I
And,
did.
and let me
He's-
let me show you his hearing, because I want to expose this thug to who he is. And
Could you not
tell
point at me? That's disrespectful.
I don't care about respecting you at all. I respect
don't
people
respect
that I
you at all.
respect. So
All right, hold it.
let me
Hold it. No,
boy. Doesn't that make you feel secure that you have elected officials like that watching out for my best interests? I never thought I'd hear myself say this. Bernie Sanders, the voice of reason, a socialist who honeymooned in Moscow, is the hero, the tough guy in that altercation. What world am I living in? That guy, Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, and we have viewers and listeners through the TuneIn app in Oklahoma. A lot of friends. I hope you can get this. Give what I'm about to say to Senator Mullen. He's probably a decent guy. But ready to be senator? Man, you've got a lot of growing up to do. That's right. I know you're a UFC fighter. He was a former MMA fighter. Okay, tough guy. Here's why I really draw an exception with you. Yeah, what you did was silly because you personalized it. You know, you said, I. You must have said I 5 times. Same thing with the union president. It's not about you. You don't personalize something to the point where you're saying, let's fight right here because the guy insulted you on Twitter. You shoot another tweet back and you decide to settle it by, you want to do, hey, YouTubers are more mature than you two. What I mean by that, Jake Paul's a YouTuber. His brother's a YouTuber. This guy, this British YouTuber. They went at it on Twitter. They got in the ring. They didn't come over there the one guy didn't come over the YouTuber to the other YouTuber's, podcast, break into his door and say, let's settle it here. You dummies. You little children. O'Brien, the head of the teamers. So what? I've said I won't call names, bad names, but idiot is what idiot does. And Mark Wayne Mullen sitting there, you represent, I saw him on Handy that night going, hey, I'm from Oklahoma. Hey, we handle things different in Oklahoma. I don't know where that dude's from. He's from New Jersey. You're right. I don't know how they do things in New Jersey, but I'm from Oklahoma, and Oklahomans don't put up that. Shut your mouth. Don't speak for all Oklahomans. You don't even speak in that line, what you're trying to use as a reflection of how they do things in Oklahoma, one of the deepest Christian states in the Union. Obviously, you missed the turn the other cheek segment. That doesn't mean you take a beating. But Jesus said, hey, that's the equivalent of slap on the cheek. A tweet you didn't like? Tweet calling you out? You couldn't even remember why he was in the room. By the way, you invited him into your house. And by the way, it's not your house. And that comes to the point of how the Oklahomans I know, and they're not just old fogey Oklahomans like me. There's an old saying when some people had a beef. And they had a lot of sayings about how, hey, let's go settle this. But one of the big ones, I don't know where it originated, but I know it's somewhere in the South or Southwest. That phrase is, okay, let's go out behind the barn and settle this. Now, again, I'm assuming it come from a southern state, a Midwest state or something. I don't think it came from New York because I don't see too many barns in New York. Okay, so I'm just assuming something. Let's assume that. Because a lot of people from Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, let's go out behind the barn. Why? Because it mattered where you settled things. You didn't do things in front of people, especially your family. And I would ask Mark Wayne Mullen, I'm just assuming, I know his upbringing, but if he was in the kitchen of his home and there was a guy over at his house, friend or whatever, somebody came in, and they started getting into it in the kitchen, and you thought there was going to be a fight. Maybe he's got brothers or something or whatever. I guarantee you 90%, if not more, of Okie mothers would say something like this. Y'all going to fight, it better not be here in my kitchen. You better get your butts outside. Go settle that outside. Don't you dare fight in my house. You get that foolishness out of the living room and go outside and fight. I promise you. That's what being from Oklahoma is about. Not getting your panties in a wad and chapped because somebody tweeted something that called you out. Then you follow it up with another interview that says if you ever fought him or anybody else, you bite. He says, I bite. This is a senator from Oklahoma. Well, let me tell you something. I don't know what Oklahoma you're talking about, but even I've seen a lot of bar fights, and one of the things they still draw the line is don't bite. You don't bite. You don't hit somebody from behind. 5 guys don't beat up one guy. That's thuggery. There was a code of honor when you had a beef with somebody. You Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, again, You probably have some great leadership skills. You got a lot of passion, obviously. But you got to know where to funnel that passion. We're looking for leadership. We're looking for statesmen. We're looking for grown-ups to lead this country. And then I see my friend Sean Hannity, have him on the show, praising him for fighting, praising him, challenging, even saying, you know what, I bet your poll numbers go up in Oklahoma. Maybe they will. But they shouldn't. He should get a scolding from his family first and then the voters, telling him, look, don't say that's how we do things in Oklahoma. Because, by the way, Mark, Senator, I'm show you respect. You invited him to that committee. Okay? If I don't believe you voted against having Sean O'Brien, the head of the Teamsters, there, well, why didn't you? Judging from your behavior, is you didn't want him to be there to get some information about the Teamsters and how government and Teamsters can work together for the betterment of the people and improve union relationships. My gut feeling, I think proven by your actions, is you want him coming there so you could personally satisfy your anger. You could care less what he had to say. O'Brien, you were loaded for bear too. So the Teamsters had a guy up there thinking just about themselves who had a record of saying, hey, we need to go back to some of that mob mentality. I'm paraphrasing, but mine not much. They're both just so, judging by that, at this point, if they don't say, I'm sorry, that was out of line, we should not have conducted ourselves that way. I'm going to say right now, considering all the things we're going through as a country, how close we are to nuclear war and our nation, $33 trillion in debt, trying to figure out how to keep this economy going forward, not just completely collapse, and keep crime under control, all these things. If you can be taken out of your game, your head can be taken out of concentrating on those things, that you take up our time, that we voted to put you in there, you are unfit to be there now. You're unfit. Now, everybody makes mistakes. I've had my anger get the best of me. I'm sure everybody listening and watching have had that happen. There's a thing called an apology to us. And you know why? For a lot of reasons. Obviously, the behavior and what I just mentioned. There's too many important things to just do this nonsense for the whole world to see and then walk around like you're a tough guy, whether it's O'Brien. Well, you stand up. No, you stand up. You set your butt up. You set your butt up. Oh, my gosh. I just wanted to go with them. I'm a 71-year-old man. I wouldn't have fought him in there, but I'd say, you know what, just for the heck of it, I got to go out doing something. I got to die doing something. I'll fight both of you out behind the barn. Not in public eye or the proper venue. Because here's the key point. I used the analogy of the Okie mama with her house. You don't fight in the house. That Senate building was paid for by taxpayer dollars. Everyone in there is being paid by us, the people. That's our house. The White House is not Biden's house. It's our house. We, the people. You know what part of the Constitution? We, the people, in order to form a more perfect union. You work for us. That's our house. You acted a fool in our house. And I'm going to quote an Okie mama. Take that foolishness out of there and get it behind the barn where it belongs. Don't you dare fight like that in our house. That's not what this house is for. Strong debate, you bet. Heated debate on the issues? Absolutely. The forefathers did that. That's what a great country is built on. Good, strong, and it's sometimes heated debate. But not a little squabble between children over a tweet. Now, somebody listened to me saying, Autry, that's just, times have changed. Times have changed. Well, I don't disagree with you, but have they changed for the better? Certain things are timeless. Just because change just for the sake of change doesn't necessarily make it good. Should we just change the principle of people should be respectful to each other just because, well, that's been kind of the rule for hundreds, if not thousands of years of civil behavior. I'm just kind of bored with people being civil to each other. So let's change and let's just start fighting each other left and right. We're seeing that experiment happen over in the Middle East and in Ukraine. Okay? Okay? Sound like Mark Goldberg. Okay? Okay? All right. I just was so disappointed. And I was, yeah, I'm going to tell you, even more disappointed because of this. I'm more disappointed in Mark Wayne Mullen, okay, being from Oklahoma. You should know better. The other guy, O'Brien, Teamsters, they got a whole different legacy. I won't get into that. I'm not anti-union. I'm a member of 2 or 3 of them. But let's face it, the Teamsters have a different culture, a different whole history that many times includes this type of behavior. But Oklahoma and being a senator does not. Go settle it. Go for pay-per-view. You know, Dana White's probably waiting. Go talk to these YouTubers. Get in the ring. Get in the octagon. Whatever. Go ahead and do that. That's the era we're living with. But that's where that kind of foolishness belongs. Not in a Senate committee. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk about the insurrection. We've had a couple of insurrections. In fact, we'll play with that Kevin McCarthy thing, too, again. Real quick before I go into the insurrections, just to hammer home the point. I should have played it before I went to break. I hope this gets back to him. I think it might. Because the guy I saw on the Hannity show was just lapping the attention up. He's thinking, this is the way you do it. Man, times have changed. I'm just thinking back when I was quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, if Twitter was out then and somebody tweeted something that they didn't like me for whatever reason or wanted to fight me, and I talked to the press and responded in any way to that, I would not have been starting the next game. I may not have been a Packer very long. Are you ready to go? Let's do her. The fight between Mark Wayne Mullen, the War of Words, and Sean O'Brien, the head of the Teamsters, was the only bout on the card there, but there was another bout on the card. It involved one Kevin McCarthy, who, you know, if you're Kevin McCarthy and you got dumped like that, you know, I know Kevin somewhat, you know, normally controls his emotion, very admirable in his ability to deal with a lot of stuff, being called names and what have you. But when you get kicked out of speakership, you know stuff's building up. And I don't know what happened in this incident, but all I know is this guy, Congressman Burkett from Tennessee, there was this purported incident in the hallway Congress where McCarthy and his entourage were walking by Burkett, who was in the middle of doing an interview with a CNN reporter. And if you buy the CNN reporter's version of it, McCarthy went by suddenly as he was going by Burkett. Burkett lunged forward to her as if he was hit in the back. And as McCarthy reappeared on the other side with his entourage of Burkett, she saw him bring his elbow back in to his body. So she's assuming that it was an elbow to the kidney, which Burkett didn't like that. And here's what ensued.
Why'd you elbow me in the back, Kevin?
I know, I felt so bad.
Hey, Kevin, you got any guts? Jerk.
One more time. Play that one more time.
And our top 4 at 4.
Why'd you elbow me in the back, Kevin?
I know, I felt so bad.
Hey, Kevin, you got any guts? Jerk.
Okay. First of all, I don't know what happened, but you might not want to bank your response and determine your response based on a CNN reporter's version of the incidents. And that's first of all. It is out of character for Kevin McCarthy to do one of these things, but he's also a very smart, calculating guy. He knows how to look at an opportunity, determine it as a opportunity, and take advantage of that opportunity. So with the guy's back turn, by the way, you may know this already, but should have set it up anyway, that Tim Burkett was one of the leaders of the group of Freedom Caucus members that got McCarthy kicked out of the speakership. So there has been an animosity for quite a bit of time between those two. But again, I should have played that before we went to break. But another example, right there in the halls of Congress, feeling like, talking like a guy that he put him in the ICU unit or something. And then, anyway, you get my point. These people got to grow up, man. Somebody's got to hold them accountable. Will a grown person please appear, an adult in both parties? I'm sitting there just thinking about this right now. I cannot really identify one person I would call an adult in either party. An adult, meaning you have adult traits like you show restraint. You show toughness by not responding to every attack and calling names. I can go off here, but I'm behind the mic in a talk show. When I was mayor, I didn't do that. You take on different roles. And the country is desperately searching for adults with adult traits to take the reins of this country and attack the problems that we have in a real way. And there used to be a lot of those per square inch adults in this country. Like I said, would debate hard, debate heated, but they didn't cross lines and they acted as adults. Go back and look at the Kennedy-Nixon debate. You can go back to the George H. Bush, Bill Clinton debates. You can actually even go back to the George W. Bush debates and Al Gore. Now, Al Gore there's no holes barred with Al Gore anymore. He'll call anybody anything. But back then, the society demanded that you conduct yourself in a manner that when we're watching it, we could have our kids watch it, and you were a role model in certain instances, in certain ways. And composure and self-restraint and humor. When's the last time you heard a politician really joke about anything and it actually be funny? I haven't heard one. They've just completely lost it. Now, real quick, we're running out of time here about the insurrections. I don't know if you saw one last night. The DNC, of all places, they tried to break into the DNC. Cops had to be called out, but nobody was shot. There was no Ashley Babbitt-type tragedy, thank God. Capitol Police kept the guns in their holsters. They got abused, beaten, and all that stuff trying to get in the DNC, which would qualify all of those actions, attacking a cop, attacking a federal building, because the DNC is in a federal building, although they're not part of the federal government. You're attacking the building, which qualifies by the January 6th committee as an insurrectionist activity. Prior to that, they tried to break into the Capitol, pushing the gates back, trying to push into the gates to the White House, otherwise known as the Psychedelic Shack by Hunter Biden. They completely lined up those actions with what constitutes an insurrectionist definition. But yet you don't see them being arrested en masse. You don't hear them being threatened to go to jail. You don't hear the terms threat to democracy. They were protesting the treatment of the Palestinians. On January 6th, they were talking about a election that they thought, based on a lot of stuff, was wrong. And I think the election turned out the way it was. It was that I do believe Biden won. I think Trump really made some missteps that cost him a few thousand votes towards the end. Is there some fraud? There is in every election. Is it something that we should get a hold of and make sure that that fraud doesn't expand itself and get worse? You bet. Just like they're looking at artificial intelligence. They're saying, look, this thing could get out of hand. We need to get our arms around this and figure out how this thing works and make sure it works properly. Same thing should be with elections. Anything that's done by machine now instead of paper ballots, you have more of a chance to have fraud, and you have a chance to have pervasive fraud, massive fraud in some cases. That's all I'm saying. You better focus on it, but I don't think it was there. I think the Democrats did this ballot harvesting really well before anybody even knew what it was. There's no term ballot harvesting till after the COVID election. But the question still remains, why these protesters, who did a lot of the same things that happened on January 6th, don't seem to get the same punishment? And I think it's a rhetorical question. We know there are two tiers of government, and it applies to one ideology gets punished more than the other, and one political party gets punished more than the other. I think it's just common sense, regardless of where you land politically, that's at play right now. Folks, thanks for tuning in. God bless you. God bless America. And just remember, do your best. Let God do the rest, and everything's going to turn out right. God bless you. Bye-bye now.
Who cares about the